Hi there. Over the break, I was reflecting on my career. I'm a student of civil engineering technology. I really wanted to nail down the options that I have after I complete my 3-year degree or my 3-year program. I am part of an Ontario program, so if you do not live in Ontario, the advice I give in this little video might not help you. Say if you live in the US, I know that a civil engineering technology diploma means something different than it does in Canada. So if you live in Ontario, this is going to be useful advice, I hope. But if not, then you might have to seek your advice elsewhere because I don't want to mislead you. So I actually ended up doing hours of research on this topic, and I wanted to share it because I would have appreciated this resource when I was doing career investigation back in high school or even now during the break. So I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be. I'm just a student. I go to St. Clair College in Windsor. I created this video hopefully for my peers in Windsor. Again, not as an expert. I don't claim to know more than you. I just did research into it, and I wanted to share my results because a lot of the stuff I think is going to be useful. So I narrowed down 3 things that a student can do after they graduate from college, and hopefully you expected this one. This one is the first option, employment. Of course, you can, after you graduate, you can go directly into the workplace and become an employee to someone in a company. There are massive options for employment in Canada and Ontario because a civil engineering technologist is obviously in demand. I did a lot of online research and I got a feel for what's out there. And I really recommend that you do this as well. And I'm going to show you some things that I did specifically. There are jobs out there that you can travel not at all, stay completely in the office, do a lot of desk work, as you see right there, or you could do a lot of field work. You could have 100% travel in your job if you wanted. You could manage lots of people in your job, or you can manage very little amounts of people in your job. It really is up to you, I found. The amount of opportunities is ridiculous, and you've really got to do some searching into yourself. And I show you how I did it later on, and I hope that you can get something from that. I just want to point out some of the jobs that you probably didn't expect that you could do from civil technology diploma, like over here, technical sales and technical writing. Those two are personal interests of mine. Things that you wouldn't expect that you could do, but you can. For example, the technical sales. You might find yourself working for a construction company, doing inside sales, doing technical support, but you won't be designing or doing things directly related to your diploma necessarily, but you will be using the diploma in some way to do your job. And that's very interesting if you like to talk to people, if you like to do marketing, writing, selling to people. If you worked in retail, for example, you might enjoy this kind of job if you liked a retail job. Another thing is material testing lab technician. Now, I haven't personally taken material testing yet, but I have done some through our college's Concrete Canoe Club. And I found out that it is actually a job that you can take on full-time with just a C.E.T, Civil Engineering Technology Diploma. It involves you working in a lab, testing concrete, testing wood strength, steel. It's fairly low pay, I found, but it is an option. And it might be something that you would do if you're not really interested in traveling around a lot or having a ton of responsibilities. So, whoops. Okay, anyways. Okay, so what I did is I went to Indeed.ca and I just put in civil engineering technology in Ontario. And I got 294 results, which means that there are a heck of a lot of jobs out there. Just one example, the junior estimator, the second result there, I pulled it up right here. It's in Mississauga, for example. It is something that you could do immediately after graduating. All you would have to do is apply to this place and go to the interview and just start working. It's for people who like lots of math. A junior estimator, if you're interested in calculating things day in and day out, which I'm not personally, but if that's what you're interested in doing, then being an estimator might be a good idea. And what you should do is type in junior estimator into Indeed.com or Monster.ca or any other job search, and just look through it and see if it's something you're interested in. I found that I wasn't, but you might be. Another thing I found, project coordinator. Now that is in Windsor, Ontario, where I live. You can start this job immediately as well, but in this case, you're starting with a bit more responsibility, a bit higher pay. You're in charge of a large group of people, potentially, a large group of workers, and it could actually be a lot of responsibility right out of the gate as soon as you graduate. So I found that interesting, that you don't have to get a low responsibility job right out of the gate. So something that I saw was a very, very important thing through all of my job searching is that almost everywhere they recommend starting up a LinkedIn profile if you're interested in employment right out of the gate. And even if you're not, I guess. But you should start a LinkedIn profile and start building your connections. I have one. I have 59 connections, which is still fairly low. A lot of professionals have upwards of 500. But it served me well because I've been able to contact business owners and people in the industry for advice and help. And it's a great idea, if you're interested, to start a LinkedIn account and to update it. And I'm going to tell you why it's really helpful in a second. Because if you want an internship, an interview, or to job shadow a potential job that you might be interested in, then you have to have a LinkedIn account. It's just almost necessary nowadays. Because in LinkedIn, there's actually a feature that you can search jobs that interest you. You can search it in the search bar, and people will come up that have that job. And then what you can do is you can contact those people. You can send them physical letters, and that's what I recommend in a second. And you can ask them for an interview. You can ask them to describe their careers. You can ask to job shadow them if you live in their region. And it's a wonderful resource for learning about what you want to do in your job. Another thing, like I just said, sending physical mail is something that people don't do a lot of nowadays. But I have found that you can almost always get at least a response when you send a physical letter. And the cost is the paper and an 85-cent stamp if you get a booklet. The benefit is that when you send a letter addressed to someone and you make it look really personal, they are going to read it or at least see it. because nobody throws out physical mail, especially nowadays when receiving a physical letter is so rare. So I've actually done this with a lot of success, and I do recommend sending physical mail to get responses. So the second option that I found was further education, and this is one that I am interested in, and you should be too. You can look into getting into a degree program, of course, and using your credits. Everyone knows that. What you might not know is that you can do it part-time, possibly, while you're working in a company with your skills, maybe 20 hours, maybe 40 hours even. You can take on a further education in your spare time and get your bachelor's in the evening after you work. So it doesn't have to be something that you immediately go and do, and it doesn't have to be the only thing that you do after your 3 years. You can work and combine an education, and I think if I were to go do that, that is what I would do. It is a bit expensive, of course, because you are making an investment in your future. $20,000 per study year, that's not like college at all, where I spent around $10,000 for the whole study year. You're looking at a more expensive program. If you're interested in these sorts of things, further education options, I highly recommend ontransfer.ca. That's ontransfer.ca. You can search for your transfer pathways from college right online. It tells you everywhere that you can go with the diploma that you earned, and I found a few just by doing this. So I went to the program transfers page for college students. I put in all the information, as you see all around here, and I typed it in, got my pathway options, and what you can do is you can scroll down and see every single thing that you're allowed to enter into if you have a certain amount of marks. And the programs last anywhere from 2 years, if it's really applicable to the degree, to the diploma, to 4 years. So it's really not even a transfer at all. It's kind of just going into a university program, but whatever. One of the things that I really love is the idea of Lakehead University and their program. They have a fantastic program up there where you can take a summer and 2 years to get a civil engineering bachelor's degree. And I believe this is one of the only universities that you can do that in Ontario. So they have an excellent program. If you're interested in doing that sort of thing, you do have to have pretty high marks because it is competitive. And another consideration is it's all the way in Thunder Bay. See, I live in Windsor, right down here. So Thunder Bay is quite a drive. It's quite a distance, but it might be worth it. Just a quick note about surveying. In a diploma program, you take surveying, and I heard one of the teachers or one of the students say that you could become a surveyor just through the college program, the 3 years, but you can't. I called the Ontario Land Surveying Office of Ontario in Toronto, and I had a long conversation with them about this. You actually need a geomatics degree to become an Ontario land surveyor, but here's one thing they told me. You can become a party chief with a C.E.T. diploma, and that is the kind of field work that you might be interested in. This I was a little confused about, actually. I thought that the land surveyor was the same thing as the party chief, but the party chief is actually in this photo to the right. He does the actual work out on the field. He drives the truck, he sets up the equipment, he does the actual surveying. The land surveyor works in the office as an administrator. So there is a big difference between the two, and if you're in a C.E.T. diploma program, it's usually not applicable to a geomatics degree. So if you wanted to become a land surveyor, you'd have to do a full 4 years, but you can become a party chief, and you can still create a sizable income through just becoming a party chief. You can have a great career just by doing that, and it is an option, definitely. So the last thing I want to talk about is becoming a business owner, because this is the option that applies most to me. This is what I was really gravitating towards with the C.E.T diploma. I wanted a skill that I could create a business around, and I've been studying it recently a lot. And basically, I've come to the conclusion that if you can solve a big problem, then you can start a business. So if you have a unique solution to a big problem that people have, and they're willing to pay you for it, that's a business. And at its heart, that's what a business is. And it's great because a C.E.T gives you loads of skills to solve problems. So you've probably heard this statistic: 9 out of 10 businesses fail in the first 5 years. And this can be a depressing statistic, but I've been looking around, and I think there's a reason that this statistic is cited so often. And it's because people start businesses and they don't do enough of the preliminary work that's required. Actually, Fortune, which is a magazine, reported that the top reason that startups fail is that they don't make products that people want. And as a civil engineering technologist in business, you're almost always going to be in demand, I see, because there's always that problem of who's going to build the next road, who's going to do the next construction job. So it's an excellent candidate for a business if it's based around civil engineering. But if you want to start a construction business, I think you have to start developing yourself right now. No matter what stage you're in, you can make steps towards becoming a business owner way before you even have the opportunity to. Because it takes a lot of learning and it takes networking. You have to know the process of business before you get into it. You have to not only know the civil engineering technology side, but you have to understand marketing and sales and writing and accounting, and you have to have those skills in order. Of course, you can hire the skills out, but it pays to not ignore any of the things that you can do to become a business owner. And this is something I want to do, and you should look into it as well. One last thing: if you really are interested in starting a business with your C.E.T diploma, then you should be attending local business events. You should be talking to local business owners, and you should be reading books about business. You should be educating yourself. And that doesn't mean just reading. It means learning what it is that business owners do, how they talk, how they spend their time. And it's all important. And you should be immersing yourself in it early. I've been trying to do this as much as I can by joining a local entrepreneurship group, and I've just been trying to absorb all the information that I can, because I want to be prepared when the opportunity to start a business comes. One other thing: a lot of people say that starting a business is a really risky idea. It's a really risky proposition. But since I was about 15, I've been hearing that, being an employee is actually the riskier thing, because at any moment your wage can be cut off by factors that aren't even your own. So if the corporate headquarters just doesn't need your branch anymore, say you work at a regional branch, it doesn't depend at all how good you are at your job. You can be fired and your income source can be cut off. And to me, that just seems really risky. That seems like a very risky idea. Whereas starting a business, You have the opportunity to create your own success, and your success is based on your own results. It's not up to the decision of other people. It's up to what service are you providing and how well are you providing it. And I much prefer that model. So if you want some ideas for the future, just honestly just search construction industry jobs, or business ideas, sorry, construction industry business ideas, and you'll find tons, and there are more than just this list, but they're things that you wouldn't even think of, like construction site cleaning, selling materials. You can also do an energy auditing business, scaffolding rentals, waterproofing services. They just go on, because if there is a problem that exists and it's big enough that you can offer a big solution for it, then you can get paid. And your civil engineering technology diploma will help you with that. I swear it, and I believe it. That's why I'm in the program. So if you're really interested in this business idea like I am, there are 3 books that I read in the last few years that have really helped me to determine the business is something that I'd like to do, and I highly recommend it. The 3 books, as you can see, are on the screen. The $100 Startup by Chris Gallibo, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. They're all very interesting and very good books on business, and they get to the heart of what a business really is. So you should read them, or at least read one of them. If I had to recommend one, it would probably be The Lean Startup, because they get to the heart. What value are you providing as a C.E.T business owner? Anyways, I won't dwell too much on that, but these books have really helped to narrow down what I want to do with my career. So there's no shortage of options. Let me know, though, if I have overlooked an important career branch, because I want to know as well. I'm constantly trying to educate myself on what kinds of opportunities that I can come across as a civil engineering technologist. I'm just a student now, but I hope to start a business at some point. And I hope this resource was useful for you, and I hope that you could gather something from it. If not, if I didn't answer a question, please let me know, because I love researching these sorts of things. It's why I made this for you, and yeah, just let me know. You can also stay tuned for some emails that I'm going to send out. If you want to be part of my email list, look in the description below, because I'm going to be sending out study guides for the C.E.T classes that I'm a part of, and they may benefit you, even if you're not in C.E.T and you want to look into it. What kind of work gets done? What kinds of things are we going to do in a C.E.T program? So, with nothing else to do, thank you for watching.